Hi, I have KG Stiles with me today, and welcome. It's nice to have you here and have a nice conversation with you today. KG is a metaphysician, health coach, and an aromatherapy consultant, providing essential oils since 1980. She has worked with many celebrities over the past 3 decades, along with hundreds of articles that appear in Massage Therapy Journal, Massage Today, Breast Cancer Wellness Magazine, and several others. She has a new book right now called The Essential Oils Complete Reference Guide. And welcome, KG. How are you today?
I'm good. It's good to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Please tell me, since I have no idea, and I'm sure there are several other people listening to us right now, what is a metaphysician?
A metaphysician looks at the more the symbolic, the energetic, underlying themes that may be playing out. It's kind of like a dream. You're looking at things like a dream, like if it was a symbolic representation.
Okay.
Louise Hay really popularized metaphysical healing
Oh, okay.
in her book "You Can Heal Your Life," where she talked about the psychological, emotional, the energetic components of why someone was manifesting a physical illness. There was a metaphysical reason associated, although there can be, the physical is, you have the physical symptoms, but there's also that energetic component of a dis-ease.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So you do essential oils, and you've been doing them since 1980. And my understanding is that you formulate them yourself.
Yes, I have my own aromatherapy company, Pure Plant Essentials. So it's okay to say that.
Yeah, absolutely. You tell them all about what you do. That's what we're here for.
So yes, mostly specialize in custom formulas. I have quite a number of blends just for lots of different health solutions as alternatives. From it's more of a holistic healing modality. It works with the whole person. So you're working with the body, mind, spirit, and emotions, not just physical symptoms. Yes, you can address the physical level, but it works holistically with the whole person in mind. Often when you're working with someone, as we were talking about with the metaphysical healing, there are psychological and emotional things going on that may have been going on long before a physical symptom occurred. Can you relate to what I'm?
Totally.
Yeah, sometimes we suppress our intuitions, our natural instincts, and we don't pay credence to that, and then we end up manifesting physical symptoms.
Yeah, that. I think that's totally true. I think health issues start long before you start seeing physical symptoms, for sure.
Yes, I think you need to work from both ends.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yes.
Totally agree. So tell me exactly what essential oils are and kind of how they're made, because I think essential oils have been made out to be scary for some people. I know for a while, because they've been made out to be very potent and all of that kind of thing. And I think some people may be afraid of them. I know I was a little nervous with essential oils for a very long time. So maybe you can explain that.
Yes, there are a lot of myths around essential oils for sure. And one of the things my new book does is dispel some of the myths uh, that seem to be rampant around what they do. Essential oils are really wonderful friends and allies, and they are relatively easy to use. Um, they are very concentrated. Uh, one drop of an essential oil can be equal to 3 to 4 cups of plant matter. So they are very concentrated. and that's a general rule, general guide. Essential oils come from natural plant matter, can be from roots, berries, leaves, shrubs, trees, whatever part of the plant yields the greatest amount of liquid and has the aroma and has there's also the chemical constituents of an essential oil that make it viable, make it give it therapeutic actions and effects. They have been studied. They're being studied more and more. I think especially with the antibiotics no longer being effective, and we're really, we have bacteria and that can't be eradicated in hospitals, and they can create real problems with staff. And so they really needed to come up with some alternatives besides just going to bigger guns with the antibiotics, because we were creating bigger and bigger strains that were resistant to antibiotics, the bacteria. So there's been a great deal more research by the pharmaceutical companies, and they're beginning to isolate. They find a particular chemical. I mean, this has been the way pharmaceuticals have been from the get-go. They find something that is and isolate it from a known herb or substance that is known to have a certain effect, and then they can patent it as a drug. So the reason a pharmaceutical works is because it does have some part of nature's wisdom in it that's been patented. And interestingly, one of the things that essential oils has been kept around, it kind of fell away out of common use. Up until the 19th century, essential oils were really in common use, and herbs too. But then as pharmaceuticals came on, they were much more potent, and they were much quicker, and people wanted that automatic, feel good, and get over their whatever. And so they were sort of seen as a sort of a miracle. You go to the doctor and and doctors actually they became pharmacologists more than doctors. They became known how to give certain drugs for certain symptoms and conditions. So essential oils, as I said, have been being researched for their effectiveness in hospital settings, where to begin to eradicate some of the problems they have with staff and such. And so they are, I actually helped a hospital become an integrated healthcare system where they use essential oils, they use caring touch, and they're open to alternative methods for helping people who are in the hospital.
Wow.
People can opt to have essential oils over medication, say after surgery or before, to quieten them, to calm them before they go to surgery. So it's just offered as an alternative rather than just doing medications. And
Wow.
and often, at least in the town where I am, people are more holistic minded, I would say. The organic food, the whole organic movement is very, there's a real awareness with that. And so people like using alternatives that are natural, that they know won't create any side effects, harmful side effects, which a lot of, as we know, medications a lot of times do come with a lot of cautions as far as side effects. If you notice this or that, you should stop using it and contact your doctor, or things like that. With essential oils, they're relatively simple to dilute them, to use them using just direct inhalation has been shown. Aromatherapy primarily works through direct inhalation. It basically works through the olfactory nerve, and our sense of smell is the only sense organ we have that is not filtered first through the brain. So what that means is that you have a direct hit to the neuroreceptors, and the brain chemistry can be triggered to produce these effects, the electrochemical effects in the brain, which sends, the neuroreceptors send neurotransmitters, whether it's to calm you, to energize you, whatever the oil is known for its effect. So does that, I'm getting
Yeah,
off.
no, that totally answers the question. Now I'm just curious because I've heard that there's several different ways of getting an essential oil. Some of them can be steamed, and some of them can be, just distilled. I've just heard some different things.
Ways of getting essential oils, pure essential oils. Now, there are other kinds of fragrance aromas that you can get, like absolutes and concretes, and those have other ways, methods for deriving them. But a pure essential oil is obtained either primarily through steam distillation is the main method. There's also hydrodiffusion, which is usually used mostly with the heavy roots and bark that's harder to break down. So the steam distillation is like a basket that is over a heat with moisture, and it's siphoned off the steam is siphoned off into the distiller, and then it's condensed in the coils, and then you collect the essential oils. And like I say, it can take 3 to 4 cups of plant matter to make one essential oil. So they are very concentrated. And then there's water also siphoned off. You've maybe heard of hydrosols.
Uh-huh.
That's basically, it's a floral waters.
Okay.
And the other way to get your essential oil is through cold pressing. The peel, the citrus oils are cold pressed. So like lemon and sweet orange. Sweet orange is the #1 oil produced in the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what is that particular one used for, probably?
Well, sweet orange is really good for weight loss.
Mm.
A number of oils. I actually, in my free gift, I am offering a course to learn about how to use essential oils for weight loss. That's a very simple, but they're, essentially key essential oils that have certain chemical components. The research shows, and also I did my own study. I had 6 women. We actually advertised in the local paper. I looked for 6 people that were a good fit for the program, who wanted to lose weight for various reasons. Could have been health reasons, could have been, various reasons. A number of them in the study did have health reasons. They really had tried so many things and nothing had worked for them. And just a very simple protocol to follow. And I did select them, so I knew they would follow through on the program, because if you don't do the very minimum things I outline in the program, you won't get results. It is the easiest way I know of to lose weight. My course is actually called Weight Loss Without Dieting, because it was strictly forbidden for you to do any kind of dieting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So one of the things that essential oils over the years, using them, that I've noticed, and that came out in this study, was how effective they are for helping increase your awareness.
Mm.
And a lot of times we actually are unconscious about our habits and the things we're doing that contribute to symptoms or whatever we're experiencing in life. So once you become aware of what you're doing, you start making changes. The women in the study, this is something, and I just kind of stumbled across this, and then I correlated it to other things, that this was something that was happening repeatedly. All 6 of the women reported that their awareness about what they were eating and how it was affecting their body really grew, which I
Wow.
thought was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Then they started making changes. It was like they connected. There was a connect the dots. Before that, it was more like they should do this, but they hadn't really gotten it on a visceral level. What was really, they just kind of got this mental, psychological, and it was more amorphous. It wasn't really a concrete, but this was like got there. It was like they got it. I don't know how best to say it, but they made of their own. They made changes. They found that they just became aware of how, maybe they had a habit of always eating popcorn in the evening. I'm just making something up. And they were noticing how that was affecting them. And then it would just fell away. It wasn't even something they thought, I should do this or something. It was like it just fell away. They no longer had the desire for it.
Huh.
And yeah, so there were real shifts, and every one of them reported. And in my study also, the average weight loss without dieting was 6 to 10 pounds over the 6 week.
Wow. So do you think that essential oils really contributed to maybe like a mind body consciousness where?
Exactly, they connected. Before it was like they really didn't connect. They didn't get it in their body. It wasn't a visceral experience. How it was like, wouldn't it be nice? Or it was like, they knew that, well, if I did this makes sense, this would happen. So they do whatever. But because they hadn't gotten it in a visceral way, it was like the mind would change the next day and they would lose whatever the thing was for them to follow through. But when they got it in their body, the awareness was there. It was like when they got the awareness, it didn't go away. It wasn't like, wouldn't it be nice, or having a thought about something, because the thoughts are always changing. The emotions are always changing. One day you feel this way, the next day. And so it's really hard to follow through if things are always changing. One day you're totally motivated and into it, the next day. And now I will say also, some of these essential oils I recommend for weight loss are known to be great to help you have follow through. And they're also good for depression, and cleansing and detoxification, which can be an issue when you're losing weight. You can definitely feel lethargic, low energy, and have some detoxification.
Depression, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can be addicted to certain foods, and so they're producing certain chemistry, and then when you no longer are having that chemistry, you can have a letdown response.
Right.
The essential oils really can help with that. But I want to add that this is not something you put on yourself. This is something everyone I've worked with since my 6 women, this is something that just naturally happens. And as I did research for my book, and as I've done more research, I myself have used something called intuitive eating. I called it intuitive eating for very many years, where I just would listen to my intuition for what to eat or how things were affecting me. And there was research by Tracy Tilka that had the research for intuitive eating as being the way for each individual. It's the only way for you to eat as an individual that's right for you. And, there's some basic things to that. One of them being that, you never diet.
Right.
And research is actually showing, this is one of the things that it is covered in my free course I'm offering for weight loss without dieting, is the research shows that the more they actually did a research study, I think it was like 2,000 twins from Finland. And the twin that dieted was 3 times more likely, just after one episode of dieting, to gain weight. So the research shows that when you diet, that it really affects your metabolism. It also affects your ability to know when you're hungry. And and so you're much more likely to put on weight, and it can really disrupt your metabolism and your fat burning. Now, the essential oils that I recommend do really help with metabolism, increasing the metabolism. They help with fat burning, detoxification, as I said, sweet cravings. So
are the when you're recommending them, are they taken internally, or are they taken?
Direct inhalation is the way. There are other ways you can use them, but for this, you want to use direct inhalation. It's really important. I found through my research and working with people that you really need to, because a lot of people, they're neuroreceptors because maybe they've done fragrance oils that are not natural, which are more intense. We were talking earlier about medications, how potent they are, and they're much more intense than a natural oil, right?
Right.
And so you really notice them. So the neuroreceptors, because of that, they've been so loaded with a lot of these chemicals that are very potent and strong that they get sluggish to responding to natural oils. So you really need to use the oils and get them really saturated. You want to saturate the neuroreceptors so you're really getting a good response with the neurotransmitters, sending those signals in the body to get the effects. And sometimes that's usually 3 to 6 weeks. Some people, if you've been using aromatherapy for some time, your neuroreceptors are probably pretty responsive and you don't really need to use the oils so in such concentrated way, for as long. You'll start noticing the neuro effects quicker, but it's individual. If you ever use a natural essential oil and your neuroreceptors, your nervous system is used to getting a response and sending a signal through the electrochemical system. I might also add that when you inhale the oil, it also immediately goes into the lungs, and so and then it's dispersed throughout the entire blood vascular system.
So do you recommend any oils be taken internally? Because I know I've heard people who have bought like lemon essential oils and they put it in their water in the morning and they drink that and that kind of stuff.
You use some kind of a carrier. Never drink an essential oil without some sort of carrier because the body can't metabolize a pure essential oil. It's a chemical. That's what we're talking about with researching these. We're researching the chemistry of an essential oil and why it's being effective. So you do want to dilute them properly if you're using them for skin application. Myself, I did experiment with using oil internally. I did not myself notice great benefits from using them, and I did have concerns. There's some of them you really need to be cautious because when you're ingesting them through the mouth, they go into the stomach and then through the liver. And the liver really is what's metabolizing them and really sending them where they need to go. And then they pretty much go into the intestinal tract. So, you need to be careful with ingesting oils. I never ingest oils or, have my clients ingest oils. I find that one of the best ways, like I say, is direct inhalation, and also using, this is another thing the research shows with balancing serotonin, which has a lot to do with depression as well as hormonal balance, is just taking a warm bath every day will help to balance and regulate your hormones.
Oh, okay.
So if you add essential oils to the bath, you'll get also that direct inhalation. They'll also be absorbed rapidly because the heat really helps the oils get going. they really get absorbed to the blood vascular through the skin. So you're really getting them internally. If you just take a hot bath with them, you're inhaling them, they're being absorbed through your tissue. I myself use sea salts. Some people have a concern. I make my sea salts a certain way where I'm allowing the oils to be get absorbed into the salt before I use it. Another way is you can just get an unscented. I don't like anything like a scented anything to interfere with being able to smell the oil directly. So if you're going to use some sort of Castile soap or gel or something like that, if you could choose an unscented one, and then you could add that to your sea salts. I do believe the sea salts, they're really good to have lots of minerals. It really helps with electrolyte balance. Epsom salt's good because it really helps magnesium. With as much coffee as people consume, it's showing that more and more people are really low in magnesium levels, and you really need good levels of magnesium for many of the body processes to go on. That's why people can have leg cramps, it's low magnesium levels.
Yeah, I get leg cramps quite a bit actually, and I don't take as many baths as I should actually. So, but yeah, I'm essential oils really they really intrigue me. I get concerned when I hear that people take them internally as well because
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
I just don't think it's necessary. I do know aromatherapists in Europe have used them internally by prescription for a very long time. There's some research there, I guess, for using them and the benefits. But I just am cautious. I think some of the ill effects outweigh what the benefits would be when you can just enjoy them through skin application, appropriately diluted, or through inhalation, or through in a warm bath.
Well, I think too that if you're smelling them and you're using them in a bath or whatever, you're getting that relaxation from just connecting your mind, your body, and kind of like reconnecting all of your experiences together.
It's much more a holistic experience.
Yeah. Whereas, if you're just dumping him in a cup of water, it's not quite the same. You're still not connecting that mind, body, spirit kind of thing together.
And there is aromatherapy,
Right.
So the benefits, the research shows primarily the benefits come through inhalation of the oil, all the wonderful benefits in the electrochemical response and in the blood.
So would they be really good to put in like I like to use every once in a while. I like to use like not a steamer, but like it's kind of like a steamer, I guess. You would think about letting him off in the room, so that
one of my favorite ways to set essential oils off in a room. I mean, you can use a diffuser, a cool mist diffuser. Those are effective, but I like to just fill the sink full, like in my kitchen or the bathroom, and I'll just put drops of essential oil in there and let them just, they're vapors, they just get released into the air. And so, yeah, it's just a wonderful way to quickly,
get more energy.
House and just cook fish the night before or something. Lemon is great for cutting through that aroma, fishy aroma or whatever. If you have just, cat odors or just, smoky odor or whatever, the lemon is really good for cutting through.
Okay. And just to probably, re-energize yourself if you're feeling like, just kind of like blah in the afternoon, right? It would be great to just fill up a sink and help give yourself a little bit of energy boost and kind of wakes you up and that kind of thing, don't you think?
Yes. Well, I usually set some off when I have spa time every day. At the end of my day, I always have spa time, whether it's a hot bath or I have a shower massager. And I usually set off some essential oils if I'm, in the sink. So I'm just immersed in the aromas. And then of course you want to rotate your oils. You don't want to just use I've heard some people say, I use lavender every day. You don't want to use one essential oil every day, infinitum. It's not, you need to rotate, just like you would rotate your foods, because then if you don't rotate your foods, more than 3 days on, then you're setting yourself up for developing an allergy over
Right.
time if you don't rotate. Same with herbs, with supplements. Also, it becomes less effective. You build up a tolerance, so it's not as effective in your system. You don't get the same impact from a supplement. The same with an essential oil. If you're not rotating the oils, they're not going to be as effective. Just like an antibiotic, how you build up a tolerance, a resistance, so that, and you don't want to go there. You don't want to really
Yeah.
resist. You want to stay receptive. And so just a simple rotation of your oils, your foods, those sorts of things.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, actually. I didn't realize rotating them. I hadn't heard that before, so that's
Well, it makes sense. In our ancestors' day, and I'm talking way back, they just ate what was in season.
right.
So whatever was growing as a hunter gatherers, whatever the game was, or whatever was on the bush, or as they walked from place to place, And so that, if you think about it, the ecology of our gut is actually very primitive. It's still caveman.
Yeah.
How it works. And so we still need to be mindful about that we are, rotating our diet, that we're eating fresh, that we're eating local, that we're eating in season. If you do that, then it's sort of natural that you do rotate.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you use any of them as far as cleaning or like household stuff? Can you use them from that as well?
Yes. Lemon, again, is really good. Sweet orange too is really good for using for cleaning. And there are quite a number of recipes and things. My book has all kinds of formulas and blends for household cleaning and using in the laundry and using for odors, and also you can use them in recipes. I have a whole section that's about using the oils for different recipes, or making culinary wellness oils, or so you can be very creative with how you use the oils.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to check that book out because I try to use as much oil. I try to use essential oils, but again, and that's why I wanted to talk to you too, is because you've had lots of experience with essential oils, and they are quite. Sometimes people don't really understand what they can and cannot be used for. So there's that iffy kind of thing, and yeah, and that's so I'm trying to dispel those kind of things so that people can use them for all the wonderful things, all the wonderful benefits that they do get out of essential oils.
They're concentrated, so they're very cost effective. Actually, you really don't. A tiny bit goes a long way.
So how much would you recommend? So if I was to say, okay, I wanted to lose, say, 5 pounds next week, you know, I would just do a certain amount of oils certain times a day, or how does that work? I'm just curious.
Well, none of my women move that fast. they enjoyed the oils and they noticed benefits right away, but it was mostly in their attitudes, their mindset, how they
Mm,
felt, energy level. All those things happened first.
gotcha.
Then the other things about week 3, between week 3 and week 6, was when all the weight just fell off. They started connecting more. The awareness grew, and um, they were just very happy. You know, all of my women, all of my customers just report being really happy with how they've reconnected with themselves. And I think that's one of the components that, you know, people really connect with their natural self rather than an image they have of themselves of how they want to be.
Mm.
They really have a sense of reconnecting with their deep self. That's what I hear reported. And, you know, I really support that in the work that I do with people, that they not be going after a self-image, but rather connect with the beauty of who they are, their natural self, and to really fall in love with who they are. And then the radiance comes from that. Everything comes from that. And it's not an outside in, it comes from inside. That
Yeah.
transformation is a transformation. That's what I've really seen with people, the transformation that happens. I also wanted to add that it's good if you can buy an essential oil. All of our oils are GCMS tested for purity. So then you know they are pure. They are not adulterated with, you know, they are the pure oil that they say they are. And also another thing, if you can find a company, our company, we always when anybody buys a product, they get my Soul of Aromatherapy Kickstarter course, so that they have the basics of what they need for using aromatherapy.
Awesome.
Which, you know, I mean, it's just basic education people get. So,
Well, I think that that's important for, if you're going to start using something that you haven't ever used before, it's probably good to have a little bit of a background so that, you don't get caught with doing something that probably is not the healthiest way to go. So that's a really good thing. Yeah, that's was the next thing I was going to ask is how do you really know um, how do you know when you go to purchase an oil if you don't purchase it from, obviously you would want to purchase it from a reputable company, because I know there's, around town there's essential oils. They always say pure essential oil, and you don't really know because it's not really labeled. So how do you really know by looking at the container what you're really getting? Because I think there's a lot of stuff out there that is not what it portrays itself to be.
yes. Well, definitely the label should have certain things. It should have the common name, like if it's lavender, and then it should have the Latin name, which is Lavandula angustifolia. And then it should say, you know, how the method used to get the oil, if it was steam distilled, and what part of the plant was used. You want to make sure there's certain species of oil that will have the therapeutic effect, and so that's why you want that Latin name to make sure it's the right species. Um, and then the country where it's grown, because there are certain locations uh, where an essential oil is, it's been grown for generations. A lot of the oils are from third world countries, and it's been inherited. It's through the family lineage that they learn about distilling the oil, and it is quite an art to distilling an oil so that all the therapeutic properties and the aroma quality is there, because you really need both. You need the chemical profile. That's why you have a GCMS. You want to make sure that the chemistry that you want for the effect of the oil is there, such as with lemon, it's limonene, that you're going to want to have a nice high limonene chemical content. The other thing with the citrus oils that's really good for losing weight, fat burning, is citral. That's the research says citral really helps with fat burning, whereas the limonene really helps with metabolism and helps with curbing sweet and food cravings.
Mm.
So, what else was I going to say about you were there was some other the question you asked, there was something else. Oh, the blotter test. I didn't tell you about the blotter test.
Okay.
If you will, this is a test. If you just have a piece of tissue, you get your essential oil and you just put a drop. If it's a pure essential oil, it will dry. Now a blue oil won't dry clear because it's blue. You're going to have a little bit of, but it should be clear. There should be no oily stain to it. There's an oily stain, and you're doing a blotter test where you put a drop on like a paper towel. I'd use a paper towel. I think that's the best one. Is the tissue paper? The tissue is maybe a little thin, but the paper towel, you should really be able to see if there's an oily stain. If there's an oily stain, you know that it's been adulterated. Now, the only time this would not work is, say, if you had a really expensive oil. Sometimes really expensive oils like neroli are cut with another essential oil like sweet orange, but the aromas are very distinct. I mean, if you know the aroma of neroli, you would be able to tell that it's been cut with another essential oil. But I think that's a good general test that you could do if you buy something that's supposed to be a pure essential oil. If you do a blotter test, and it can take, a heavy oil would take longer than a viscous, a volatile oil like a citrus oil, which is very thin. It's a very viscous, thin oil. It doesn't take very long for it to evaporate, the oil, the vapors to evaporate off of there, and it should just be a clean, it dries clean.
Wow. I would have never had any idea how to do that. Because I mean, of course, if you go to, say, just a regular store, they're not really going to let you open them and test them. But I suppose you could buy them.
You could buy them and test it, and then if you have concerns, say, you can just return it.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. So when you do your oils, are they mixtures of oils, or are they all just the same? So lemon is lemon, or do you mix them with lemon and sweet orange together, or how do you do that?
Single oils, or blends, formulas for specific health conditions like weight loss, or leg cramps, or you just different. I have one for hot
Anxiety.
just different formulas for different sort of a alternative health solution to help with different problems. I've found a lot of my customers are women, and so people have come to me over the years wanting something, and so I ended up blending something for that. My son, when he went off to college, he had a hard time sleeping with all the noise and activity in the dorm, and I created a blend for him called, his nickname is Easy, so I made this blend called Sleep Easy.
Mm.
So
Wow, that's just tell everybody again where they can get your book and where they can find you, because we certainly want everybody to be able to find these wonderful oils, because these are all handmade here in the United States, correct?
I make everything is custom poured, hand fresh to order. We don't bottle anything up and shelve it or anything. Everything is made to order.
Wow.
The blends, we do formulate the blends, they don't sit along for weeks or whatever. The blends, there's something that we blend in small batches, so they aren't, we refrigerate almost all of our oils except the really heavy oils, that really slows down the volatility so they don't vaporize or evaporate or oxidize. I really recommend, any of the conifers like the pine, the spruce, or any of the citrus oils that you do always refrigerate those. It really does help. And always fill your bottle as full as possible so there's little room for oxygen to get in there. Cap them really tight.
Well, those are some awesome tips, actually.
Closed glass bottle, so you don't get any any light into that can, because
Wow.
the oils go off in heat and light, and so that the elements are what set off the oils.
So that really would be another really good tip if you're going to buy an oil and you see it in a clear bottle. That probably is not really would not be really a good oil to purchase because
especially not. I saw this one, well-known seller of essential oils in a local health food store, and they had like a 2 ml of rose oil in this 5 ml bottle. So it's like, who would put an expensive rose oil 2 ml in a 5 ml bottle? I mean, I couldn't, that sort of thing you would know because that's going to oxidize.
Right.
It's going to get rancid.
Ooh. Yeah.
So, that's rose oil are very expensive. It's expensive.
Yeah. There are some very, very expensive oils out there. I know frankincense is one of them. I mean, depending on where you buy it, I'm sure.
Where you buy it, and myself, I stopped buying the frankincense from India. The Oman was my favorite. I get my frankincense from Somalia now, which is actually where the Catholic Church gets their supply of frankincense, because it's endangered from India. It's really in an endangered status. So Somalia is an alternative.
Wow.
Also, you can get my book on Amazon.com right now. It's a $30 book, retails for that. You can get it. I saw it last night for $18.99 on Amazon.
Wow.
So I don't know if that will still be available when this goes live, but
well, hopefully, and tell everybody.
kgstyles.com. And so we should have launched my new website by then, and we have a brand new KG learning site where you can get courses and my free course, but you'll also have the thing for them to be able to download the free course in PDF, right? So,
yeah, for sure. So, well, you know what? I could talk to you about essential oils all day. And I appreciate you being here with me. So I'm going to stop recording and thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me, and I hope what I've shared has been helpful.
It was for me, and I'm sure it will definitely be helpful for our audience, for sure.
Thank you for having me.